Ever get this weird feeling like some ideas are kind of alive?
Alive.
Yeah, they're not alive like us, obviously, but like they have their own momentum, shaping the world around us.
I think I see what you're getting at.
That's what we're diving into today, these sentient concepts. It's a trip.
It's a fascinating area where philosophy meets, well, dare I say, reality itself.
Right, and get this. We've got this whole system for ranking these concepts, like a tier list, almost, based on how much they actually influence reality.
A tier list of ideas. I'm intrigued.
Oh, we're going deep. We're talking everything from the economy to, like, simulated reality, the whole philosophical shebang.
And that's what I find particularly intriguing about this framework, the sheer range of influence these tiers highlight. We're talking about concepts we encounter daily alongside those that make us question the very nature of existence.
Exactly. So to start us off, let's look at something relatable, something like the economy.
Okay, the economy.
We talk about it all the time, but it's not like you can hold it in your hand, right?
Precisely. The economy is a prime example of what we'd categorize as a C-tier concept deeply rooted in our physical world. It's a force we've created, and yet it often feels like it has a life of its own, responding to our collective actions in ways we can't always predict.
Totally. Like, imagine if everyone suddenly decided to ditch the system, become hermits, live off the grid.
A mass exodus from the modern world.
Right. The economic earthquake that would cause.
Exactly. It highlights the inherent aliveness of these C-tier concepts. And speaking of which, it brings us nicely to the concept of language, another C-tier player.
Language. Okay, yeah. We use it constantly, but...
But how often do we stop to think about language as a living, breathing entity in itself?
You're right. I mean, we see it all the time, right? New words popping up, slang evolving, entire dialects emerging.
It's like language itself is this constantly shifting landscape.
Exactly.
And this evolution happens organically, independent of any one person's control.
Yeah. It's not like there's a committee somewhere deciding these things.
Precisely. And what's fascinating is that this evolution then shapes how we think, how we perceive the world, even how we interact with one another.
So it's like this feedback loop almost. We shape language, and then language shapes us right back.
Precisely. Now, imagine stepping up a notch, moving from those C-tier concepts to the B-tier, where things become more abstract, yet their impact on our lives remains undeniable. Think about morality, for instance.
Morality. Yeah, that's a big one.
Constantly evolving, always sparking debates.
Because what's right in one culture might be completely taboo in another. It's all relative.
Exactly. Morality isn't this fixed set of rules etched in stone. It's fluid, shaped by cultural norms, religious beliefs, even individual interpretations.
And it impacts, well, everything. Laws, social customs, how we treat each other, our relationships.
All influenced by this intangible idea of right and wrong.
It's powerful stuff.
And then there's justice, another B-tier concept, closely intertwined with morality.
Right, because we strive for justice, we protest for it, we wage wars in his name.
And yet, defining it universally, it remains incredibly elusive.
It's true. What constitutes justice depends entirely on who you ask. What's fair to one person might be a slap in the face to another.
It's all relative. And yet, this abstract concept, this idea of justice, it holds immense power over us.
Okay, so let me get this straight. We've got these C-tier concepts like the economy and language, these forces we might not see but definitely feel.
The invisible threads of our world.
And then we move into B-tier with things like morality and justice, guiding our actions, shaping societies.
Precisely.
These are big, powerful ideas, but they still feel somewhat grounded in our day-to-day lives. Where do we go from here?
Buckle up, because we're about to venture into territory where things get truly mind-bending, where concepts transcend our everyday experiences and make us question the very fabric of reality.
Okay, things are about to get really meta, aren't they? Hit me with it. What's next on this philosophical roller coaster?
It's funny, when we're talking about morality and justice, these B-tier concepts,
they can feel so relative, so open to interpretation.
Absolutely.
But they still feel somewhat connected to our physical world. Our actions, our laws, the things we can actually see and touch.
Precisely. But as we move into the A tier, things start to get a bit more slippery.
Slippery, huh? How so?
Well, we encounter concepts that operate on a whole other level. They straddle the line between the tangible and the utterly intangible.
Okay, so we're moving out of the realm of the concrete and into, the metaphysical, the esoteric.
In a way, yes. Let's start with fate, for instance.
Fate, okay, I'm listening.
This is a concept that has captivated humanity for millennia.
I mean, who hasn't wondered if their path is predetermined?
Exactly. Does a predetermined path actually exist for us? Or do we truly forge our own way? Free will versus destiny. It's a question with no easy answers.
It makes you think about all those what-if moments, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what if I'd taken that other job or married that person or...
The road's not taken.
Exactly. Did I have any real agency in those moments?
Yeah.
Or was it all preordained?
Fate as a concept really challenges our understanding of free will and determinism. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, there's a grand plan. A cosmic script we're all playing out.
Okay, now that's kind of a daunting thought, right?
A bit, yes.
The idea that some things are beyond our control, already written in the stars, so to speak.
And yet, it's a belief system that has persisted throughout history.
It makes you wonder, if it's all preordained, what's the point of striving, of making choices, you know?
That's the paradox of fate, isn't it?
It does make you think, okay, fate is definitely a head-scratcher. But I feel like we were going somewhere else with this. You mentioned another A-tier concept.
Yes. Consciousness.
Right, consciousness. It's like the ultimate mystery.
We experience it every moment of our lives, and yet...
We have no idea how to actually define it.
Precisely. Defining what consciousness truly is remains one of the greatest scientific and philosophical enigmas.
I mean, we know we're conscious, but how do we explain that to someone who's not? What is this thing that experiences the world, feels emotions, forms thoughts?
Is it purely biological? A product of our brains, the complex interplay of neurons firing? Or is there something more to it, something that transcends the physical realm entirely?
It's a trip. Makes you wonder if consciousness is something unique to humans, or if it extends to other life forms.
A valid question.
Could a dog be conscious? A dolphin? What about a tree? Do they experience the world in ways we simply can't comprehend?
Intriguing, isn't it? And this exploration of consciousness often leads us to another A-tier concept, the soul.
Okay, yeah, the soul.
This idea that there's a part of us, an essence, that exists beyond our physical bodies.
And again, it's a concept that you find across almost every culture, right?
Precisely.
Some belief in a soul, a spirit, something that endures even after we die.
Whether rooted in religion or simply a personal conviction, the idea of the soul has a profound impact on how we view life and death.
For sure. Okay, so we've gone from the tangible forces of the C and B tiers to these more abstract realms of fate, consciousness, and the soul. It's getting deep in here.
And we're about to dive even deeper.
Oh, there's more. Don't leave me hanging. What happens when these concepts become even more mind-blowing? Even further removed from our everyday reality?
Hold on to your hats because we're about to enter the S tier.
The S tier. What's so special about the S tier?
The S tier is where reality as we know it starts to unravel.
Unravel. Okay, now you got my attention. The S tier, where reality unravels. Okay, you've got to elaborate on that. What kind of concepts are we talking about here?
Well, imagine a realm beyond our direct perception, yet still subtly interwoven with the very fabric of existence. That's the S tier.
Okay, I'm picturing like a cosmic web or something. Intangible, but still holding everything together.
A fitting analogy, and one concept we find in this realm is karma.
Karma. Okay, like what goes around comes around?
More than that, it's the idea that actions have consequences. Consequences that ripple far beyond the immediate moment.
Okay, I think I see where you're going with this. So not just personal responsibility, but a sort of...
A cosmic balance sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like our choices, big or small, they all get tallied somewhere.
Exactly. And while we can't measure karma scientifically, it's hard to deny its influence on human behavior.
Yeah.
Think about how many cultures have developed entire ethical systems around karmic principles.
It's true. It's like this idea, even without a physical form, can shape the course of civilizations. That's wild.
It is fascinating. And what's even more intriguing is how closely tied karma is to another S-tier concept, chaos.
Chaos. Okay, that took a turn. Isn't chaos usually seen as like a bad thing?
Well, we tend to equate chaos with disorder, unpredictability.
It's things we generally try to avoid.
Of course. But chaos isn't just the absence of order. It's a force in its own right, constantly reshaping our world, pushing things forward.
Okay, so instead of fearing chaos, we should embrace it. I'm not sure I'm following.
Think of it this way. Without chaos, there would be no growth, no adaptation, no evolution.
So it's like those unexpected events, the ones that throw our plans out the window. They can sometimes lead to the most incredible outcomes.
Precisely. Chaos reminds us that we're not always in control. And sometimes that's a good thing.
Okay, you've officially blown my mind. So we've got karma keeping things in balance, chaos shaking things up. What else is there? What other wild ideas await us in the S tier?
Fasten your seatbelt. This next one's a real head trip, eternal recurrence.
Eternal recurrence. Never heard of it.
It's the idea that time, as we experience it, isn't linear, it's cyclical.
Cyclical. You mean like history repeating itself?
On a cosmic scale, imagine this very moment, this conversation, playing out again and again, an infinite number of times.
So you're saying everything's on repeat. Does that mean free will is just an illusion then?
That's the big question, isn't it? Does free will even exist in a predetermined loop? What does it mean to live a meaningful life if our choices, our actions, are destined to repeat? Eternal recurrence really forces us to confront these fundamental questions about existence.
Wow, okay. Heavy stuff. We've gone from the concrete to the cosmic in, like no time. We started with those comforting ideas in the lower tiers, then it was karma, chaos, now eternal recurrence. Is there anything beyond this?
We're just getting started. The S tier might make us question our place in the universe, but the S tier, that's where things get really interesting. It challenges the very fabric of reality itself.
S tier. Beyond the S tier. Okay, now I'm really out of my depth.
We're talking about concepts like infinity, the idea of something that never ends, no boundaries, no limitations. It's a concept that's very difficult for our finite minds to grasp.
I mean, yeah, our brains just aren't wired to comprehend something without a beginning or an end.
Exactly. Then there's the void.
The void, like emptiness.
Not quite. The void isn't simply nothingness, it's pure potentiality, the birthplace of everything and nothing, all at once.
Okay, now that's just messing with me. It's like saying the void is both the canvas and the paint, the silence and the symphony.
And where logic breaks down, we often find paradoxes.
Paradoxes. Those what came first, the chicken or the egg kind of things.
Precisely. They force us to confront the limitations of our logic. The idea that by observing something, we inherently change it. The very act of searching for something alters its reality.
Okay, my brain officially hurts. It's like reality itself is in a constant state of flux, and the more we try to pin it down, the more elusive it becomes. And you said there's even a level beyond this S tier.
We can't talk about reality-bending concepts without talking about the beyond broken tier.
Beyond broken. That sounds ominous.
These concepts are so profound, so fundamentally alien to our everyday experience that they defy categorization, the technological singularity, for example.
But what now?
The point where artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence, where technological progress accelerates beyond our ability to even comprehend, let alone predict. What happens to humanity when machines become our intellectual superiors? It's a question that sparks both fear and excitement.
Okay, that's getting a little too real for me. It's like those aren't just ideas anymore. They're like forces of nature.
Precisely. And finally, we arrive at perhaps the ultimate philosophical head-scratcher existence itself. Why is there something rather than nothing?
The million-dollar question.
Why does the universe exist? Why are we here? These are questions that might never have definitive answers, but it's the act of asking them that truly matters.
This whole journey through the tiers of reality-bending ideas has been incredible. We've gone from the economy to the soul, from karma to the technological singularity. It's a lot to process. Where do we even go from here?
I think the beauty of this exploration is that it doesn't end here. It's about embracing the unknown, acknowledging that there will always be more to learn, more to question.
I love that. So if you're listening to this, what reality-bending idea stuck with you? What questions does it raise for you about the world around you? Keep exploring those questions. Keep that sense of wonder alive. And as always, thanks for taking this deep dive with us.